A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I ask that you please subscribe and hit the notification bell button. If you've been a part of the journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, we discuss all things DSTV and PSL news. So let's get straight into it. I'm joined by two guests. The first one goes by the name of KB. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Very happy to have you. Another one who his real name is Kabelo, but he decided no, KB is the one.
Yeah.
And then another returning guest who goes by the name of Njabulo to his mother, but he's Javas to us. How are you, bro?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
I'm great. And as always, I am your host with the most, and I go by the name of Luyolo. So, gentlemen, let's get straight into it. A lot has been happening with regards to the transfer window, the off-season, when it comes to the DSTV Premiership. However, we'll start with Mr. Seema, who is reportedly on his way to Golden Arrows, who will become Mandla Ncikazi's successor. What do you guys make of this appointment, and do you think that he will be able to replicate what Mr. Mandla Ncikazi did at Arrows? I'll start with you, KB.
Honestly, I think it's a big move for him, considering the fact that he ended off with Chippa United in the relegation zone. So it's a bit more pressure. He has a lot to do with regards to maintaining the standard of play that Golden Arrows have been accustomed to.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure that he might meet those standards, but we have to just give him a try and see if he'll be able to, give it a run.
Interesting. What are your thoughts, Javas?
In terms of management at Golden Arrows, I'm one person. If you have a certain formula that wins you games and it's consistent and it's working out for you, then there's no need to change a winning formula.
Yeah.
For me, the management is okay. It should have been the same, you understand?
Yeah.
The only thing that we can just add on is the players. So I don't know the owner, where that decision came from, whether it's from the admin or the owner's trade. But for me, it doesn't make sense, because when I'm looking at Seema's CV, there's nothing wow. There's nothing wow.
Yeah.
It's just like an average coach, you understand? And I think going into the following season, when I'm looking at Golden Arrows' objectives, they might change because they've had a great season. You understand? Maybe now they'll want to get into the CAF Champions League. Who knows,
Yeah. So with regards to that, gentlemen, I slightly disagree with you guys, especially because Mandla Ncikazi is gone and he's joined the technical team of Orlando Pirates. So that role had to be filled, and when you look at the landscape within the DSTV Premiership and you look at the types of coaches who are available, I think Mr. Seema fits that Golden Arrows mold. I'm not saying that he's better than Ncikazi, no. However, what I'm saying is I think he fits the culture and the way in which Golden Arrows would like to do things. Because if you remember how Bloemfontein Celtics were playing underneath him at his time, they were playing really good football, and they were a team that was starting to gain momentum, starting to gain strength. I mean, they even reached 2 cup finals. The first one when he was there, and the second one when he had just shortly departed. So with regards to that, I think that he's a suitable candidate. However, I think that people shouldn't expect him to perform as well as Mr. Ncikazi did, because he's still, in my opinion, he's still finding his feet and learning his trade when it comes to coaching. Whereas Ncikazi was a lot more experienced. He's worked at other clubs as well for longer periods. So I think Ncikazi had a lot more knowledge. And that goes to show by virtue of the fact that he got appointed by Orlando Pirates. So I think it's a good appointment. And one thing that makes me really happy about this appointment is that he's now got a stable job.
Yeah.
You know, and I say that with all respect to Chippa United. However, we know the situation at Chippa United.
We know
We do.
So we know the situation at Chippa United that you lose 2 or 3 games, you're out.
You're out.
You know, so unfortunately, you know, so I'm happy he's got a stable job now, and I think they should give him time to build his project. Yes, he's not going to immediately hit the ground running because he has to establish his own methodology and his own way of doing things. However, what I like is that there could be a bit of continuity there because the two coaches are very similar with regards to their philosophy and how they approach the game of football. But anyway, gentlemen, I want us to go into the big 3 now. So we'll start with Orlando Pirates with regards to what's been happening with the Mayfair-based football club. So Orlando Pirates, obviously each and every single season, we do know that they're that one team that make bulk signings in the transfer window. And so far, what we do know is that they've managed to sign Musele and Evidence Mahopa from Baroka, who... The latter will go back on loan at Baroka, and then he will join up the next season, after this season. So what do you guys make of those signings and them being interested in so many different names with regards to certain departments like the midfield and the forward line? Do you guys think that their recruitment policy is done adequately, or do you guys feel like Pirates sign too many players too often?
They sign too many players, and usually it's not as effective as they want it to be because they don't really perform as they wish the players could have been performing all along. And another thing is the signing of Goodman Musele and who's this? Evidence Mokopa. They already have similar players they're playing like that. You have your who's this, Ben Motwari, who plays a similar style of play as Goodman Musele. Even the striking force, there's already players who can all they have to do is to make tactical changes to those positions so that they have the depth already. So they don't really need to sign more players. No, they just need to work on the tactics. From there, strengthen certain areas such as the attacking midfield, such as the goal-scoring department also. Then they're good to go. There's no need to be adding more and more players each and every season.
What do you make of it, Javas?
I thought they were actually going to fix the back because for me, you know, the goals were leaking at the back. I mean, you've got, when you sign a big player like the captain of Bafana, you expect it to be watertight, but instead you get the opposite. I mean, you understand? Because if we analyze this season and we look at the season that Sundowns had, they were not on their star-studded form, in terms of consistency and stuff like that. So I feel like other teams could have given them a go-ahead, and I expected Pirates to be that team because of the quality players they had. You know, I mean, you still have the previous season we had Gabadino Mango as the top goal scorer. I don't see why he was not playing. He was fit, you know. So for me, the changes, they'll have to be the back four for me. I'm happy with Afori, good quality goalkeeper. Maybe also the coach. You know, that will, for me, if they can bring in someone who is more local, who understands the players, you understand, because they've got quality players, you know. Because now you're adding attacking players. Where's the change? I mean, let's fix the pipe and stop it from leaking.
The pipe and stop it from leaking. So I have to agree with Javas on that one, especially when you look at Pirates defensively. I think they've struggled so much in that central defensive area, and it's clear to see that Tyson has struggled, you know, and when you look at how they've been trying to find him a partner, Pirates don't inspire confidence in that area. And with the signings of Mokhopa and Musele, for me, I just feel like you're just stocking up on already what you have.
Exactly.
You know? And I will, though, acknowledge that they're young. So going into the future, that there are players that can be integrated. However, I don't see them playing anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know, that's just from my perspective. I know people feel like Goodman Musela is going to walk into the lineup, but I don't see that. And especially when you still have a player like Nkanyiso Zungu, a quality footballer who hasn't been integrated thoroughly.
Age.
You understand? Who hasn't been given a chance yet. You know, and then you've got Munari as well in that position. So for me, you've got 3 quality deep laying midfielders. You know, so I didn't see the need. And then there's Makaringe, who at times you can also play him as part of a double pivot if you want to, or you can play him as an 8. So we've already counted 4 players there. So I didn't really see the need. I think for me, Pirates, this is just my opinion with regards to their transfer window and their transfer policy. I feel like they get it wrong because they go for quantity over quality. You know, and I feel like they need to prioritize. They need to, during the season, they must know that we want 4 guys. These are the 4 guys we're going to go for, and that's it. You know, we're not going to sign a person because they're available. We're not going to sign them because the price is suitable to us. We're not going to sign them because they just scored a hat-trick against us. No, we're going to go out and sign players that we know are going to build a bigger picture. We know that they're going to fit into the squad. They fit the culture. So with regards to that, I just feel that it has to get to a point where they start looking at the type of players, you know, and not the bulk of players, you know. And when you look at the striking force, I feel like they're well covered in that position. I don't see why they're signing another striker. I think maybe what they need is a number 10. You know, I think they need a number 10 or a winger who will then challenge Lorch and Pule, you know, and Horto as well. When you add a number 10 and you add 2 centre backs, I think they're fine. Because if you look at the fullback area, I also think that's an area where they sorted. You know, they've got players there. And one could even go as far as saying that some of those players within the Pirate squad can go to Sundowns and compete for a place. Definitely. You know? So I just don't understand why do they keep on signing in this manner, and each and every single season they're always signing, you know, 6 to 10 new players. It just doesn't make sense. And maybe then it feeds into the fact that why they struggle to win trophies. Because every season there's new players. You can't build on from what you have. So I just think that they've already got good players. They just need to fix a couple of issues at the back. And in my opinion as well, I think they need to get a new head coach, as I don't think Joseph Sinpower inspires confidence. So the next talking point, gentlemen, I'm going to speak about a man who rose to prominence rapidly within the DStv Premiership. He stole our hearts by having big match performances in the Soweto Derby, and it would only be right that I introduce him in this way. Thembinkosi never tap but to Lorch. So, gentlemen, let's get into Thembinkosi Lorch. What do you guys make of his situation at Pirates over the past couple of years with regards to his desires to leave and head over to Europe? However, we all know that hasn't happened, and there was allegedly so, there was a transfer request that was handed in, yet we still see him as a Pirates player. And a couple of weeks ago, his agent, Mr. Jasmine, came out and said, no, the player is staying at Pirates, and the player is happy. We haven't had any offers as of yet. Javas, what do you make of his situation?
I mean, you know, it's not easy to leave and go, especially abroad, to coming from a club like Orlando Pirates, who have a history of not releasing their players to go and explore their talent. You understand? You saw the situation. I mean, Donati Tekumudise can explain to you. So the situations are kind of similar, you understand? And I don't know if it's greed or what it is from how they run their club or anything like that, but I feel like, you know, they can still move on and still perform without Lorch. And, they've got depth, like you mentioned. And going into, we saw the season that they had, it didn't feature as consistent as previous season. And I mean, for them, they didn't do too bad without him. You know, I saw the team was gelling. So for me, I personally feel like he wants to grow and explore his talent. So you know, what you read on the paper sometimes is not how it actually it really is. You understand? So yeah.
Yeah. So you know, Javas, when you say that, I always think about body language, and I always say, gents, body language speaks the loudest. You know, and when you look at his body language on the field of play, it's not one of a person who's confident. It's not one of a person who tells you that I want to be here, I want to be playing for this club. And it becomes so evident with Lorch, because Lorch has always been that guy who eats his bubble gum. He plays high energy football. He's always running around. He's always vibrant, expressing himself. This past season, I didn't really see that from Lorch. You know, I just saw a guy who I'm playing because I have to honor this contract. You know, and when you mention Tego Modise, it really mirrors a very, very similar image with regards to what happened to Tego Modise, you know, and then with the agent coming out and saying, no, he's happy, especially then when they smoke, and people usually say there's no smoke without fire. The agent then comes out and says, no, he's happy. And we haven't heard that from the player himself, you know. You haven't heard the player coming out and saying, no, I'm happy at the club, I look forward to growing at the club. Because we do know that when there's a lot of speculation around a player's future at a football club, the player would often come out and make that statement and say, no, I'm happy, I'm good at the club. So for me then, you know, it raises an eyebrow and it raises a question mark with regards to his situation. Another thing that I just want us to focus on is his contractual situation. So I want us to speak about this because when Lorch signed at Pirates initially, it was not made clear as to how many years was his contract for, you know. Secondly, we do know that when a player signs at a big club, it's often announced that he signed a 5-year deal, he signed a 3.5-year deal. But when it comes to Lorch's situation, I don't remember hearing that, you know. And when I do my research, let's look into this situation, what's going on. Even they struggling to find out, you know. Guys, I'm not a journalist, but I'm just saying. They even say that when it comes to his contract, with regards to the length of of the contract, it's inconclusive. So the question I want to ask you, KB, with regards to his contract, do you think that maybe it's a contract that's impossible to actually get out of, that sees him struggling to then be bought by other clubs? Because other clubs have approached, but now they were not, it's clear that whatever money they put on the table was not, it was not satisfactory to the Iron Duke. Does that then mean that maybe A, the contract doesn't have a buyout clause, or Lorch may have maybe signed a contract which is difficult to actually leave, maybe a lifetime contract? What do you think about that?
With regards to this situation, it may be clear that the contractual terms with regards to his contracts are binding and stopping him from actually moving. And, you know, it's tough because now how many people are going to approach Pirates trying to buy him out, and it's actually going to limit all these other potential, you know, recruiters for Lorch. So I really don't know how it's going to plan out because no one really has clarity with regards to the contractual terms. So I really don't know.
It's really a tough one, you know, because personally I think that when we start to see more of our products go overseas, that opens up the door for the rest of the DStv Premiership. However, it remains to be seen as to what's going to happen with Thembinkosi Lorch, and I just feel that time is also running out with regards to his age, and you know, it remains to be seen. But I hope that at the end of the day that he gets that desired move, because it's clear that he wants to go.
He does want to move, but are we sure that he's ready to move?
With regards to
his performance in the previous season, although he's not happy, but look at his performance though.
I just feel like, you know, his attitude, especially I'm judging him from the past season, his attitude towards how we approached games was not like previous season, you know. I feel like it's going to be hard to move on from a situation like this. The only thing you should do is just to put in the work, you understand.
Hey, but you know, you raise a very pertinent point there, because who who then is going to break the bank for a player who hasn't been performing?
Exactly.
You
He
know?
literally scored like 1 goal last season.
Look, and he last won the player of the season, like,
Yo,
Yeah.
2018.
That's
Yeah.
when he was actually supposed to
Leave,
Yeah,
exactly.
you understand?
Right
and I
now-
feel like they had more offers in 2018
Yeah.
than now.
Than
you understand?
now.
It's the same thing as George Livesi.
Yeah.
Eish. But gents, let's close it on this with this Lorch matter, all right? Let's say he doesn't go overseas, but he gets a local move. Is it Chiefs or is it Sundowns?
I honestly believe a suitable move would be Chiefs, eh?
Why do you think that?
With his, just going back to what we just said right now, his performance.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a suitable candidate for a team like Sundowns that already has depth with a whole lot of competition
As usual.
as usual? So he can go and try help Chiefs restructure and build on from there. Find his feet at a team like Chiefs, not Sundowns. Honestly.
Personally, I don't think Chiefs would want to break the bank to that point, because already, if you're dealing with a player like Kama Billiard, who's their highest paid player at the club. So, to bring in Lorch, you're going to have to really, dig deep in the pocket.
Yeah.
And I only see a team like Sundowns who can afford him, you understand?
Yeah.
And if Serino leaves, then it can make space, and that we can maneuver the players around. You understand? Yeah.
What's wrong, KB? It's like you don't want this guy to club.
Not that I don't want him, but I honestly feel that with regards to his attitude at the moment, there's no time to adapt at Sundowns.
Yeah, there's no
you have
time.
to get there and play.
Yeah.
You understand? So Chiefs is a suitable place for him to go there and start,
Afresh.
finding, start afresh. That's
Start
what I'm
afresh.
saying.
Yeah.
Find his feet again, not Sundowns.
Not
But then the cross to the rivals, Mr. Chairman wouldn't be so. He wouldn't just let you go as easily. You understand?
Yeah. That's
Eish,
another-
yeah,
Because those transfers.
Yeah, even when Teko left for Sundowns, it was you can leave, you can go to any club except for Chiefs, but that remains to be seen. However, let's move on to the next segment, which is the Sundawan, and I've got the perfect man here, who's gonna lead us through this one. So, what I want to know, KB, now,
Sure.
what are your thoughts on the player recruitment with regards to the transfer window? Because within this window, Sundowns are either linked or have signed a lot of local players already. What do you make of that when you still have players who were signed last season, but they didn't get a chance, they're still being integrated into the team, yet you're signing more players? What do you make of that?
I honestly think that this whole signing a bulk of players every season should actually come to an end, and let's work on what we already have. Because let's be honest, we have most of the greatest players in PSL at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's work with what we have. You understand? As much as we only got to win one title last season, we have potential of winning more and maybe a treble. So let's just work with what we have. Maybe probably bring back the players that we loaned instead of buying more players. So it really doesn't make sense to add on. We've already made a point. You understand? We already made our point. So let's just work with what we have, restructure, and go compete for CAF also.
Because the reason why I asked, and I wanted us to start there, is because during Pito's time, also quite a lot of players were being signed, but at some point we started to see that Pito was prioritizing quality over quantity. Viewers at home, I'm not saying Pito didn't make bulk signings. Before you attack me in the comment section, no. What I'm saying is that Pito was more focused on quality as opposed to quantity. And a lot more of the players that he signed during his time have now become key components of the squad.
Yeah.
What do you make of this situation, Javas? Do you think that Sundowns are doing things in the right way by signing players who are more or less not even on par with the players that they currently have? Or do you feel like, no, they're doing the right thing, they're signing the right players?
No, this thing it's a philosophy, I guess, for Sundowns. It's been there for years. So clearly it's working for them. I mean, you guys are winning every season. Understand? So, if I was a Sundowns fan, I wouldn't complain. I mean, at the end of the day, you're also changing lives. You understand? So, you're changing lives. Yeah. So also, hey, Team York is stingy. They sign everyone. So I feel like, it works for them.
Yeah.
If I was a Sundowns fan, I wouldn't complain because that means, okay, more players, more competition. You bring out the best in your players.
Yeah.
And that's what we want, especially if you want to compete at the highest level, like the CAF Champions League. Peter will tell you that, every position must have 2, 3. It must have 2. It must be packed. I mean, they've got 4 goalkeepers, if I'm not sure. So I mean, already, and they're all quality. They're all quality. So I mean, it works for them. I can't complain.
So another person looks at it and says, "Okay, Javas, you were saying that we're creating competition, but one thing we've come to know with regards to the Mamelodi Sundowns situation is that over the years, a lot of people have been saying, no, Mamelodi Sundowns, they kill careers. No, it's not the place to go if you want to grow as a young footballer. What do you make of that? Do you think that they kill careers?
Honestly, we do not kill careers because these players, when the team puts an offer to a player, the player has the choice of accepting or declining the offer. You understand? And he knows that should he accept the offer, he knows what he's getting himself into. He knows there's competition, there's chances of getting loaned. He knows. So he already knows, and he's seen it with past prominent players who played for Sundowns. So we don't kill careers, we just want quality, and that's what we prioritize. So if you cannot give us that, then we're gonna have to, loan you or offer you to another team, and that's just that.
But here's another question then I have for you now. Because of the amount of signings you make within the DStv Premiership, with regards to the word killing, other people say, okay, fine, KB, I hear what you're saying. You say we don't kill careers, but others argue that you kill the competition within the DStv Premiership because you sign all the good players of the rest of the teams, right? What do you make of that statement?
With regards to killing the competition, I won't even lie. It's really greedy to sign bulk players and every great player at other teams is taking them for yourselves, and obviously many players are not going to decline a Sundowns offer. They want to try their luck, especially when they see the contract. Who would want to decline a Sundowns offer, So I understand, but on that part I can agree with you. We're not really fair to a certain extent. But
you kill the competition, but you don't kill the careers. No. I hear you, my brother. So let's move into it. A player who's had a great season at Maritzburg United. He was also captaining them. A player who we know that started out at Baroka. He played for Orlando Pirates. It didn't really hit the ground running there. He struggled for game time. Moved on to Maritzburg, established himself, and managed to get back into Bafana. This player goes by the name of Thabiso Kutumela, and he's just signed for Basandawana. So what do you make of that signing? And do you think that he will help strengthen the team? And do you foresee him in the starting 11?
Another case of killing the competition. But am I excited about the signing? Not really, because we have players like Shalulile, we have Kermit already. So do you think he's actually gonna can he compete with them? How do you guys feel?
Personally, I don't think so. Him going there, I think it will be more of a learning curve, you understand, because you can learn a lot about playing for these big clubs, you understand. You find maybe he gets loaned out to Cape Town City Supersport, or maybe it's a permanent signing. Then he blossoms there because of what he learned at Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah.
We've seen it with many players who've switched teams, you understand, with the Mamelodi team. But personally, I don't think he will be a regular there. As to where they will play him as the striker, as the number 10, you know, every position. You know, if he's the number 10, the Cerrido, you understand? So you must look at it that way. But I'm happy for the boy. He's proved himself that he can play for the top 3 teams once again.
Yeah.
And I've never questioned his talent since him being in the NFD with Baroka.
You know. So the thing is, for me with Sundowns, gents, I have to be very honest with you and say, I feel like Mamelodi Sundowns have graduated within the local market. I don't think Mamelodi Sundowns have to sign local players. The players, they should be looking at the international market. I say that because when you sign a player from the DStv Premiership, right, and you sign also another player who's reportedly signed, Divine Lunga from Golden Arrows, who is a left back. He comes in. The question is he better than Lake? I don't think so, you know. So when you sign those type of players, they can only get you as far as their experience and their knowledge, which is DStv Premiership football, right? But you've already won DStv Premiership without those players, right? The next question then becomes, what is it that you'd like to achieve? CAF Champions League football. So when I say that Mamelodi Sundowns have graduated within the local market, they should be looking at people with CAF experience.
Exactly.
They should be looking at people with international experience that they should be bringing. So
Killing the CAF competition.
they must kill the North African team.
Yeah, they must kill them.
Yeah. So with regards to that, and that's why then I make an example of Nascimento. Nascimento is arguably one of their best, if not their best signings in recent years, because that's a player who had international experience. That's a player who was, gents, I mean, come on. Nascimento is one of the best left-sided center backs in South Africa, you know. And I feel like what we're seeing of Lebusa is because he's got a mentor and an older brother figure like Nascimento, you know. So I just feel like Sundowns need to focus on the international market, and their focus with regards to the international market has to be quality over quantity. And I feel like they should sign players who are either better or who will add competition to those positions. So, yes, when you sign Thabiso Kutumela, his talent has never been in question. However, does he dethrone a Shalulile who just 2 seasons ago won the Golden Boot alongside Mhango? This season just finished 1 goal shy of Bradley Grobler. Does he dethrone him from the starting 11? No, he doesn't. You know? And then let's look at the pecking order. Can you put him ahead of a Kermit Erasmus? I don't think you can, because Kermit Erasmus' experience, Kermit Erasmus' technical ability, and leadership skills as well are very important for that side. So you can't, you know? And then you move on. You look at maybe as a winger or a number 10, there's Serino, there's Zwane. Can you? I don't think so. And then again, you also have to look at the system that Sundowns play with. You know, does he then fit that number 10, that 10 role where it requires you to have both sides of the game? Because at Maritzburg, I feel like his main focus was getting the goals, and that was about it. But at Mamelodi Sundowns, you have to become a hybrid of a player. Your understanding of the game has to be at an optimum level. You have to understand not just your primary role. However, you have to understand the movement. You have to understand the passing patterns. You have to understand that if Shalulile takes up my position, where must I be? When Zwane gets onto the ball into the half space, which runs am I making?
Exactly.
You know, you have to understand when Lake has overlapped, how then do I support him? You know, there's so many things that you have to understand within that intricate system. So going forward, Mamelodi Sundowns, in my opinion, I'm sorry, guys, you know, I hate to say it. I'm a very patriotic person, and I want South African players to play for Mamelodi Sundowns. However, where they are currently, I just feel like they don't need to sign guys from the DStv Premiership unless they're top class and they're better than what they have. And currently, I don't think there's anyone in the DStv Premiership who's better than what Mamelodi Sundowns have. The one guy I could make an argument and say maybe he can challenge would be Gabadinho Mhango, in my opinion. But other guys, you know, and to all the players out there in the DStv Premiership, guys, I respect you. I respect you guys. I think you guys are great players. However, on this podcast, we keep it 100% factual and we're objective, you know. So, and when I look at it, I just think that Sundowns need to prioritize, in my opinion, it's just three positions. Right back to offer competition for Thapelo Morena, because we saw this past season that he didn't really have competition in that position. And he also didn't perform it wasn't his best season, you know. And if they can get that right back within Africa, would be perfect. Attacking midfielder, you know, a number 10 who can give you variety, who can give you something different, you know. And I think a striker as well. A striker who's got a different dynamic to the strikers they already have. I think those three positions. But when you look at the left back, you look at the centre back area, you look at the midfield area, I think they're sorted. You know, I think that they're sorted going forward. However, speaking about going forward, let's speak about Gaston Sirino. He's made the headlines in recent weeks. You know, we do know that this started just before they played against Al Ahly, and he was very vocal about the fact that his desires to play for Al Ahly one day, yet he's still on a long-term contract for Mamelodi Sundowns. What do you guys make of Gaston Sirino's situation at Sundowns? Do you think that they should allow him to leave? Or do you think that he should honor his contract? Because when he signed for Sundowns, he signed with a smile, and he wanted to play for Sundowns.
I honestly think his contractual terms can be negotiated, given the fact that he's really given a lot to Sundowns, and his form is still well, so he can go to a team like Al Ahly, you know. But with regards to the contractual terms, they should have a meeting, negotiate, you know. Give the boy a chance to go to Al Ahly. Pito wants him. Let him go shine. But otherwise, he's really done a lot for Sundowns. We cannot, dispute that.
Because the last thing you also want is a player that doesn't want to play for your team. You understand?
Exactly. And you're paying him a lot of money.
And you're paying him a lot of money, you understand? But, you know, he's not going to give you the effort that you want. I feel like you should take the move. He's achieved everything when it comes to South African football. Let him go test the waters elsewhere, you know. You understand? So, I mean, his father, Peter Misiman, wants him. The man who borrowed him to Africa, you understand? So, I feel like he'll combine and gel well with players there. He might not. I feel like he's got so much talent that he might not even stay 2 seasons or 3 seasons at Al Ahly, you know. It's just unfortunate that age is not really on his side for European clubs. But, I mean, with this talent, I feel like he can go even further than that. He can play... we saw against Barcelona, it was a friendly match, but, I mean, he was the standout player in the game.
So, okay, gentlemen, I hear you now. Let me play devil's advocate on this one. What then do you say about somebody who says, no, he must honor his contract? When he signed knowing that it's a long-term contract and other teams are not willing to meet the fee that Sundowns have requested. But yet he's still saying that, no, I want to bring Mamelodi Sundowns and Al Ahly to the table to negotiate. What then do you make of that?
Can you go...
What do you make of it, Javas?
It's not an easy one when it comes to, you know, contracts, and, because they just, as a player, I feel like you don't have much to say, you understand? You're not given the opportunity to express what are your desires, you understand? I mean, you've got an agent who negotiates for you, on top of that, management, the club, you know, so, I mean, you look at Lorch, I mean, there's many players who can just admit that, you know, when it comes to the contract issues, I mean, on the paper, it states that, you know, this is the length of your contract, this is how much we're going to pay you and stuff like that.
At the end of the day, the contract is binding. That's a fact, you know, but then it can be open to negotiation.
Yeah.
You know, so for the sake of avoiding a situation where a player does not want to play for you and you're paying him a lot of money, just to avoid such things, have a negotiation once.
Yeah, gentlemen. So let's move on to the next segment, where it's all things Amakosi. So, gentlemen, a lot is happening with Kaizer Chiefs. We do know that. They'll be contesting in the final. There's no more transfer ban. However, where I want us to start with the recent appointment of Kaizer Jr., who's been appointed as the sporting director for Kaizer Chiefs. What do you make of his appointment, and do you think that Kaizer Chiefs have made the right decision?
I mean, I'm not surprised by the move, actually. I mean, it's a family business, you know. So it's clear what Mr. Mtaung's objectives are going to the future. I mean, you know that, he's old now and he's built a legacy. So obviously he'd want people, his family to, you know, be within the club structure. And, you know, I think he'll pass on his knowledge.
Yeah.
You understand? Bobby as well, you know. They'll help him adjust to all of that. But I think, you know, it's a good move just to, you know, just to the Kaizer Chief culture and just keep it the same in the bloodline. And also, you know, I know he's very big on international football, so hopefully he can add his expertise into the club.
Yeah, so, and when I look at it, you know, I love the fact that in the past couple of months, you know, Kaizer Chiefs have made very progressive strides, you know, firstly by having a technical director and a head of youth development, and then now we're seeing the sporting director, you know, which is something which is not big within Africa, let alone South Africa. We don't know of too many sporting directors within South Africa. However, overseas, you know, you've got Mr. Edwards at Liverpool. At Leicester, you had your Steve Welsh, who was responsible for finding the likes of N'Golo Kante, Riyad Mahrez, Jamie Vardy. However, here in South Africa, then, we start to see Kaizer Chiefs now starting to build a footballing structure, you know, which is adequately based on the foundations of running football in a way which would predicate for success on all levels, you know, not just when it comes to the playing field, however, on the technical side as well. So personally, I'm very excited for this one. And I say that because the more our clubs grow in South Africa, the more we start to see such appointments, I think it points us into the right direction, you know, as South Africa. It's not just a win for Kaizer Chiefs, but I think it's a win for South African football, because what that then does is that it teaches other clubs of how to do things going forward. You know, and what I love about Junior is that he's also heavily invested in the youth development. He likes the youth players, you know, and he's also a young person himself, you know. So with regards to the structures of massive organizations in this country, we've been saying they must give young people a chance. And this person's so young, his name is even Junior. I'm joking. But yeah, I'm happy that they've given him a chance to become a sporting director. KB, do you think this is a great move? And do you think this will bring success to Kaizer Chiefs?
Yeah, definitely. You know, changes must not only be made in, you know, with regards to the players who play for the team, but also managerial structures, you know, development. Because at the end of the day, they affect each other. You understand? So
it's a good point.
Yeah, the fact that this change, a new person, okay, not really a new person, but like, you know, maybe a new mindset. He can apply that with regards to, you know, youth development, the way the players, you know, conduct themselves, the way managerial structures are, you know, also conducted and all that. He can actually contribute a lot, taking into consideration that he's been obviously part of the Kaizer Chiefs family his whole life. He played there.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, he can actually bring a lot.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with you on that one. So let's move on to the signings and the transfer window. And the question then becomes, Javas, as a Kaizer Chiefs fan, are you finally happy that the transfer ban is over? Because the whole season, you know, a lot of Kaizer Chiefs fans have been waxing lyrical about, no, we can't sign players, so that's why we're not performing. What do you make of the end of the transfer ban, A? B, what you have learned as a fan regarding doing things in an adequate manner, not to find yourself in that situation again?
It's a relief, firstly, I must say, you know.
Yeah.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for as Kaizer Chiefs supporters, you know. Not to shame any of the youngsters that we played with this season. I mean, they came to the party. I mean, they got us to the CAF final, I mean, you know. One of our biggest achievements. So credit must be given to the boys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's just how things are going to look or seem going forward with the changes and whether these boys are going to be loaned out or will they be getting as much as game time as much as they had, because now we've got to, you know, adjust and know these players, you know, and, you know, we've become supporters ourselves of these boys, like the likes of Jabulo Blom, you know, and, you know, Ngobo, you know. So these are quality Mashiane, quality players, you know. So you know, it will be sad for them not to feature. I mean, you know, they were there throughout for the team. You understand? They got us to the top 8 and to the final. But obviously now we need to, you know, our objectives, we need to broaden them, you know. We need to claim back what's ours. I mean, you know, it's time to return to the glory days. It's been it's been years. I mean, you know, the biggest club in the country, you know. So I mean,
are they the biggest game? Will you agree as a Sundowns fan?
I was about to question.
This one is another episode for another day. It's a topic for another day.
Right.
But yeah, definitely, Jas. I agree with you on that one. You know, it's going to be interesting for me. It's going to be sad to not see. And I'm not saying they won't feature, you know, but if they don't feature, it's going to be sad not to see Happy Mashiane and Jabulo Ngobo. No, Jabulo Blom, sorry. Nkosi Phile Ngobo. It's going to be sad because these are the players who are doing so well, you know. And as much as, yes, they weren't doing well in South Africa, but the amount of experience they gained, you know. You know, in South Africa, we always compare and say, in Europe, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds are playing Champions League final, semi-final. That's exactly what they were doing this season.
That's what they were doing.
You know, they were playing in those Champions League. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the amount of experience they got, I feel, is something that they can build on going forward. They know the culture, the philosophy, the identity is in their DNA. However, then, let me then ask you guys, what do you make of some of the signings? You know, so some of the signings, namely being Brandon Peterson. You've got Mabiliso from Amazulu, Sfiso Hlanti, Patu Nange, who was playing at Stellenbosch. You've got Sikhota, who was at Swallows. What do you guys make of those signings?
Quality signings. I think they've had enough time to analyze across the borders of South Africa, you know, to actually go deep, you know, put in Java. So I think, you know, we can see with the type of quality players that they've chosen, you know, it's not just players or and bench. So I mean, I'm looking forward as to how they will gel. You know, that's obviously up to Baxter, you know, and obviously when it comes to going forward, you know, the structure, I wanted to see like what formation I'm going to use, you understand? And I believe that it's not final. We're still going to get more players, you understand? So it's just to see who we will sign.
You know? What do you make of those players, KB?
No, it's good signings, and just to add on to the competition for the players that are already there, you know, Yeah, quality, especially I enjoy this player, Sekhoda.
I enjoy him.
He's a
Quality.
very good player. That's a good signing for Chiefs, honestly.
Yeah.
He can really contribute a lot, But okay, I don't know about Hlanti though. Okay. How do you guys feel about Hlanti?
If I'm looking at left back, I mean, he's going to be needed because left back,
But
who are we playing with? We're playing with Zulu. Sasman. I don't. Those are not Kaizer Chiefs players. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
We need a Bafana player who will control that position the same way Tsepo Masilela did.
So with regards to Hlanti, ne? I'm personally not happy. Ne? And I just think that if Happy Mashiane could be used well and be brought back to his position, because he rose to prominence in the MDC playing as a left back and then sometimes playing as a left-sided midfielder, or a left wing back. And my view of it is that this is a player who is quality. First of all, we saw his technical ability, throughout the season. We saw that, he's got an educated left foot, as they say. We saw that he can whip balls, he can whip the cross, he can hit a free kick. And I just think that he's better suited playing as a left back or a left wing back as opposed to a left wing, which is then tasked to take on players. No, I think he's better coming from deep. So I personally would have gone with Mashiane at left back because I also think Mabiliso, who's been signed from Amazulu, I don't think he's better than Mashiane. That's just my opinion. So I didn't think they had to sign two left backs. At least one, to add cover because they're probably going to let go of a couple of left backs. And also, within the reserve team, we've also got left-footed defensive players there who are quality. So I didn't think that was a position we really needed. So, yes, Hlanti, I'll acknowledge that he comes with experience. Bafana won trophies at Wits. He's got that experience. He's got that caliber. However, I personally would have gone with Mashiane and I would have built with Mashiane going forward in that position to answer your question. And... it's going to be very interesting to see how they line up. But a player that I left out who's become one of my favorite defenders in recent times, also he's also your namesake. Yeah. Yeah, a player who goes by the name of Njabulo Ngobo. Roadblock. Nonsense. Quality gents. Too nice. I've left him for last because I feel that, in my opinion, he was the most important signing for Kaizer Chiefs. And as a Kaizer Chiefs fan, you'll tell me if you agree or disagree. But I think he was the most important because when you look at that central defensive area, Kaizer Chiefs have struggled to find a mainstay there, and it's been inconsistent. Some people have been calling for Cardoso and Matoho to move on because of age as well. What do you guys make of Roadblock signing for Kaizer Chiefs? And do you think that he can go on to build a career for himself and become a legend at Kaizer Chiefs as a centre-back?
He's bringing stability and, most importantly, calmness to the back.
Composure.
That's what we needed in the team because Cardoso and Mato, when they're playing together, it's just chaos. There's no composure. They say they're both leaders, but I haven't witnessed that. You understand? So, with regards to that, I think Ngobo, I'm not saying he'll go in and lead the team immediately. No, that's not the role that I want him to play. I just want him to just play the same football that he played at Swallows and just continue with that. Just be comfortable on the ball and let's play it on the feet. I think
exactly.
This whole thing this whole style that we've adapted of long balls and Zabo Castro, you understand? But it's not entertaining for the football and for the football lovers of Chiefs and obviously the fans. That's not what we know. You understand?
Yeah. What do you make of Roadblock signing?
Yeah, they definitely need like a defender who can hold the ball, who's comfortable with the ball at his feet. So he can bring that into Chiefs' structure, knock the ball, like he said, pass the ball, make the players enjoy the ball, the whole knocking the ball forward. to Nokovic and Castro. That style of play is really predictable and it's not versatile. Teams will be able to easily stop them when they play like that. So get a defender who can hold the ball.
Yeah.
Build from the back to the midfield and going forward. You know, enjoy football. Yeah, that's what Chiefs needs to do, you know.
Aish!
Quality.
Aish! Yeah, no, Shem, like you hit the nail on the head. So, gentlemen, let's move on to the extra time segment, my favorite segment as we conclude the episode. So, this man is a man who has achieved a lot in South African football. I stand to be corrected. However, he won 50 caps for Bafana Bafana, various trophies for Kaizer Chiefs, a player who's done really well over the years, a player whose reputation grew so much that a lot of youngsters wanted to play like him. A lot of young midfielders wanted to be the next Yeye. Reneilwe Yeye Letsholonyane has retired from football. What do you guys make of his retirement and his achievements within the beautiful game?
He's really achieved a lot, and he's the perfect example, a good example for young players across South Africa to look up to, taking into consideration his discipline, you know, his hard work ethic, and how he really carried himself as a player throughout his career. And looking at the longevity of his career also, you know, not many players play for that long in South Africa, we all know. So for him to be consistent and, you know, achieve a lot in South African football for Kaizer Chiefs, Bafana, that's really, you know, I applaud him on that, and he's really done a lot for South African football.
What do you make of it, Charles?
Yeah, we all know Beyonce is a quality player, you know. I mean, we've been watching him since we're young, and for him to actually retire at the age of 39, I mean, that's a big milestone. Like you said, in South Africa, I mean, the fact that you should consider this man is older than Junior Kanye. I can go on and on, you understand? So it's a milestone. I think a lot of upcoming youngsters should see how he handled himself on and off the football pitch, you understand? His discipline, I mean, that counts a lot these days. And also, if I look at how he managed to, you know, invest some of his money, we see some of his business achievements with him and Shaba, you know, giving back to the community, the foundation. So I think those are things the young players should learn to do, you know, not just go to Diamond Walk and splurge on women and fancy clothes. You know, there's more to life than just that, you know?
Yeah. So I definitely agree with you guys. You know, what makes me sad is that he's part of the first PSL generation that I watched, you know, and part of the first PSL superstars that I grew accustomed to, you know. We saw Teko retiring a couple of years ago. Saw Mpela retiring. We can see that Shaba's nearing the end, you know. And then now you have Yeye, who's just retired. So when I start to see that generation and that group, you know, it really hurts me, you know, because it's like these are the guys I grew up watching. Yeah. And that was at an age where I could watch football analytically and consciously. So when I start to see these guys retiring, it hurts, man. Because the quality of football, you know. And I ask you a question, right? With all due respect to the midfielders we have in this modern day age within the DStv Premiership, but how many of them can emulate Letsholonyane? How many of them have that quality?
Not many, you know.
You know? So and that's what hurts me, you know. However, a big shout out to you, Mr. Reneilwe Yeye. We are very happy and proud of the career that you've had. I know that you inspired me quite a lot, and growing up, I wanted to walk in your footsteps, not just from a playing perspective. However, like Jawas had mentioned, the discipline, like KB had mentioned, the longevity, and with regards to how you carried yourself. A great gentleman on and off the field, great mannerisms. So on Diski Talk with Luyolo, we salute you, Mr. Yeye, and we say we hope that you enjoy your retirement. And we say thank you for blessing us with so many memories over the years, both for Bafana Bafana and Kaizer Chiefs, and for some SuperSport fans there. And for some SuperSport fans there. However, gentlemen, we've come to the end of a special episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo. Whenever we do go into PSL and DStv Premiership matters, that's my favorite episode to cover. I'm glad that we went at length today, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward with regards to the three big teams that we discussed today, with Mr. Seema's appointment, and with Mr. Yeye, Interesting to see what will he do. I would love to actually see him still within football, maybe as a technical director, maybe in a coaching role, because he's a man who's got so much knowledge and wisdom that he has to offer, and he's a true legend of the game. And if I was one of those big teams, in fact, if I was Chiefs, I would rope him into the technical structures, and yeah. So, gentlemen, thank you for coming through, KB.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much for coming through. Jawas? This was yet another beautiful episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo, signing out.